Hey everyone. So, in a world where the only thing you can count on is change, how do we build teams that don't just get by, but actually get better? Today, we're going to dig into a huge meta-analysis that pulls together 34 different studies to figure out the real story between leadership and a team's power to adapt.
Just for a second, think about your own team. Is it built to just, withstand change, kind of like a big old tree in a storm? Or is it built to embrace it, to move with it, almost like a chameleon? Because what if the only way to be built to last anymore is to be built to adapt?
Okay, so let's get our main term down first. Adaptive performance, or AP. This is way more than just being flexible. It's about what people actually do when the rug gets pulled out from under them. A new software system, a last-minute project pivot, or a full-blown crisis. It's the real, tangible skill of managing that change, not just gritting your teeth and getting through it. And understanding AP is absolutely crucial because it's the key to solving what we can call the adaptability challenge. And that's a pressure that pretty much every single organization is feeling right now.
I mean, think about it. New tech, shifting markets, global shakeups. The speed of change is just relentless. And this isn't just some buzzword from a conference. It's the reality on the ground. A team's ability to pivot is no longer a nice-to-have. It is the baseline for staying in the game.
So, all right, if adaptability is the big goal, how in the world do you get there? What's the secret weapon a company can use to actually build that skill? Well, this massive study we're looking at points overwhelmingly to one single answer: leadership.
Now, I know that feels kind of intuitive, right? Good leaders help. But the real question is, does the hard data actually back that feeling up? Let's take a look at whether leadership really boosts performance when things get chaotic.
And this isn't just based on one company's survey. The source here is a meta-analysis, which is basically a study of studies. Researchers gathered up the data from 34 separate papers, covering over 11,000 employees, to get a really clear, statistically solid answer.
And the answer they found was, well, it was completely unambiguous. Yes, leadership has a direct, positive, and really significant impact on a team's adaptive performance. It's not just a nice idea, it's a measurable fact.
So just how strong is that yes? Well, the data gives us this number, 0.37. Now, you don't need to be a statistician to get this. In plain English, this shows a real, meaningful connection. It's not a fluke. It tells us that better leadership doesn't just help a little, it reliably and predictably boosts a team's ability to handle change. It's a rock-solid link.
Okay, so leadership works. We've established that, which, of course, leads everyone to the next big question. Is there a best style? Are some leaders just naturally better at creating adaptable teams? Let's see what the research says.
This is what we all want to know, isn't it? Should you be that visionary, charismatic leader? Or maybe a supportive, servant leader? Or the one who empowers everyone? It's like a leadership championship. Let's put them head-to-head. The study looked at a whole lineup of the most popular styles. You've got your classic transformational leader painting a big vision. You've got the servant leader who puts their team's needs above their own. Then there are empowering leaders who give away power, and inclusive leaders who make sure every single voice gets heard. They even looked at things like shared leadership. So take a look. Which one are you putting your money on?
All right, you got your pick? You know which one you think is going to win? Well, this is where the research takes a really fascinating turn. The data revealed something that kind of flips a lot of conventional wisdom about leadership on its head. And there it is, a direct quote from the paper itself. After looking at all those different styles, the researchers found zero proof that any single style, not transformational, not servant, not any of them, was significantly better than the others at boosting a team's adaptability. And this chart, it's called a forest plot, is the visual proof. Now, don't worry about all the jargon. The takeaway is super simple. Each of those dots is a different leadership style. The fact that pretty much all of them are to the right of that center line, that means they all had a positive effect. But look closer. There's no one dot that's way, way out in front. There's no runaway winner. The data says they all work, and none is really better than the rest. So, this is the million-dollar question, right? If you can be a charismatic leader or a humble leader and get basically the same positive result, then what's the common thread? What's the active ingredient here? What is it about leadership that actually works? Well, it turns out that active ingredient isn't a style at all. The researchers found it's all about the underlying things that good leaders do, no matter what label you slap on it. And here's the absolute key. It's not the label you give your leadership style. It's the environment, the support system that you create for your team. The function of your leadership is so much more important than its form.
So across all of those successful styles, researchers found that effective leaders were always creating these 4 conditions. First, they gave motivational support. They were the ones saying, "You've got this," building up the team's confidence. Second, they built relational support, creating psychological safety, a space where it's okay to try something new, to ask a dumb question, even to fail without getting blamed. Third, they created a proactive environment, encouraging people to find their own solutions instead of just waiting for orders. And finally, they provided clear communication, cutting through the noise and chaos of change with clear goals.
So, knowing all this, how do you actually use it? Let's boil it all down to the practical, actionable takeaway from all this incredible data.
Here's the game plan. First, just stop worrying about what your leadership style is. Instead, focus on how you're supporting your team in those 4 key areas. Second, be a chameleon. A direct, command-style approach might be needed in a crisis, but an empowering one is better for a creative project. And finally, if you do nothing else, just focus on boosting your team's motivation and creating psychological safety. Those 2 are the absolute bedrock of an adaptable team.
And this just sums up the mental shift perfectly. The old way of thinking was this hunt for the one perfect style, something that was fixed and rigid. But the new, evidence-based thinking is all about being a flexible provider of support, adapting your actions to what your team actually needs. It's not about always being the one out front. It's about creating an environment where everyone feels they can step up and lead.
So let's end on this thought. Ultimately, it doesn't matter one bit what you call yourself. What matters is what your team would say about the environment you create. Is it motivating? Is it safe? Is it clear? Is it built to empower them for the constant, relentless change that defines the future of work?